Why do you think you didn't score early with all those new names, with guys who have unbelievable resumes, but the puck just didn't go in the net?
No, we were, analytically, we were shooting well below the NHL average, and I'd like to give you a logical answer for something that's a little bit illogical. But when we were shooting, when we go through stretches, when we're shooting at least league average, we were winning. We go on those 5 game win streaks, and when we shot below, we were always we're in the game 3-2 and have to pull our goalie, and it's usually a 4-2 loss if we did that. So it's been one of those years where it hasn't totally come together. Like I said, we had a stretch where we were number one in combined power play and penalty kill, and we were last place in the league, which made no sense. So all that being said, I do know this, that sometimes those legacy players and a few general managers who have been in this situation where they've signed a legacy type of player from another organization, it's taken 6 months to a year for them to sort of, I'm here, this is my team type of thing. And so hopefully, even if I didn't do anything, the bounce back hopefully will be a little bit better next year.
When you looked at your team at the start of the year, and I never got a chance to talk to you prior to camp, where did you see your team from a competitive, fitting into the standings point of view, and where do you see your team next year then?
Well, going into it, I know everybody was
Yeah, there was a
proclaimed.
lot of noise.
There's a lot of noise. And I kept saying, I think I used John, I talked to John and said, it's fantasy hockey until we become a good team. But I really thought that I wanted to be a team that would be, fighting for that wild card. That's where I thought. I looked at it, and there's Winnipeg and Colorado and Dallas and some of those teams that are a little bit deeper. But I felt that if we got off to a decent start and played, the Central is a bear, as you know.
Yeah.
Uh, um, I felt that we would be playing in that wild card sort of race right to the end, and if we got in, we'd be a more of a threat because of the what we did in the summer, having those sort of game changing. I only need a chance. They've had good track records in the playoffs, but we never got to that point. So our inconsistency, and then you just anytime we seem to get on a little bit of roll, we get hit with a massive amount of injuries. I thought around Christmas time we had a really good run going, and we went on a Canadian trip, and all of a sudden all our defensemen got hurt all at once, and we were playing for Milwaukee Admiral. They're all playing their first, second, 10th game in the National Hockey League, and then you take steps backwards. So it's been one of those years where we just can't stay consistent. We were either going to win 5 or lose 5. This is one of those years, and a guy like Jeremy Lazon, who's basically missed most of the year through having a real tough year with injuries. So we did some of our process early, like I said, with the trades with Carrier for Barron type of thing, getting a little bit younger. We have a really good pool of young players coming. You saw some of them at the World Juniors in Mollendijk and Gibson, Edstrom, Nielsen, Gustafsson with the Swedes, and Teddy Stiga with the Golden Goal is one of our guys. So our future's pretty bright, I think, for we're having a lot of depth. We're a team that's got some star power, but a lot of our star power probably haven't had underwhelming years this year. Everybody from Saros to Yossi to Stamkos to Marchessault. But at the same time, you look at our scoring, guys like Marchessault and Stammer, and they're the only ones scoring for us. So,
Hmm.
and we got some great people in O'Reilly and Sissons and Nyquist. So our kids are surrounded with some really good people. Unfortunately, we just haven't got the results that we probably envisioned. I felt we were going to be a team that would be battling for that wild card spot.
What would be the decision or the thought process of when you signed Steven Stamkos? Everybody assumed he was going to be a winger, but he's played a lot of center for you this year.
He has that happened. We wanted him to play the wing. Tommy Novak. We wanted to put him in that hole with Marchessault and Stamkos. He got off to a little bit of a rough start, then got hurt, and then we went on that a Canadian trip, through Toronto, and O'Reilly got hurt, and all of a
Right.
sudden we had no Novak and um, no O'Reilly, and so Stammer had to go in the middle. And what happened is him, Forsberg, and Marchessault actually had a little bit of chemistry, so we stuck Stammer in there and kept him there for a while. And I think as we go along here, you could see a Stammer move back to the wing, but we're fortunate he has played some center, and he's done a good job when he's been there.
I'm curious, the veteran guys that have been there with you for a long period of time, Yossi, Saros, Forsberg.
Yep.
Um, what do you think they're thinking? I mean, you guys obviously have great communication with them, but there has to be a level of frustration for them because I think that they've been there a long time and expected to be a better team this year.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's weighed on Roman, especially. When you're the captain, I think if you know anything about Roman Yossi, he cares so much. I think he takes it personally. I think it's weighed a lot on him. Um, and I talk about the process. Sometimes, the process is not the road that you envision. I mean, everybody thinks that it's just like a player development. You think it's a straight line. It's a crooked, winding road for player development. And sometimes when you put a group together, it becomes that, and you can't control, everything from injuries to chemistry to luck. I mean, I would bet heavy money that we've hit more posts and crossbars than any team in the National Hockey League. I'm sure there's a stat for that, so that
Well,
someone
there's a
could.
stat for everything, Barry.
Yeah. But I would say that if we're not number one, we're in the top three for sure, because I've never seen a team hit so many crossbars and posts. And if you know that shooting percentage, it's not even a shot on net. So yeah, we've just shot well below expected in terms of analytically. So our analytics people tell me if we just be at league average, we'd probably have a lot more wins and probably be closer to where we expected to be, but we haven't hit that, and therefore we are where we are.